Can we answer the question? Does going to the University of Canterbury have an impact on the students? Yes, we can. Is it the best way? No, it's not the best way. But it's a way. It's a good way. What's a better way? This year we go out, we sample the freshman class. I come back to see you next year. We go out and we pull a random sample of the sophomore class. I come back to see you the year after that. We go out and we pull a sample of the junior class. I come back the year after that. We go out and pull a representative sample of the senior class. Now I've got some really good data, longitudinal data. Now I compare those four groups, those four samples. That gives me evidence about the impact of going to the university. It's better evidence than the first example. Does that mean the first example is no good? No, the first example is fine. We only had that much money. We only had that much time. Dr. Berg's not coming back every year. The grant won't pay for it. But if you have the money and the time and you want a stronger case and the question is really important, then the second way is better. Longitudinal. There's even a stronger case. Do we know how to make it? See, these are the little tools in your toolbox. A panel. We call it a panel design. So we go out today and we take a random sample of 2,000 Kansas students. Next year I come back and I want you to go find those 2,000 students, the very same students. And we're going to collect information about those 2,000 students. And I go away, I come back the next year when those students are now juniors. We go out and we find the same 2,000 students. Are we going to find them all? No. Some are going to move. Some maybe will die. Some will drop out of school. So maybe by the time we're juniors, we only get 1,900 or so. In Vietnam, much better. In America, the mobility is so bad that if we try to do a panel design, we can't do it. And it's so expensive. It's so expensive to try to track down those so, you have to have a lot of money. There has to be a good reason. Do we have research that use panel designs? Yes, we do. Because there are some cases where there are good reasons. I have the lady who lives in my house is a Chinese lady who I've known for years and years and years. And she's working on a big research project at UCI. It's with Alzheimer's, the development of Alzheimer's disease in the elderly. They're using a panel design. They identify these people when they turn 60 or 70 years old, and they see them every year or every other year, the very same people, and they follow them through until they pass on, and they collect all this information, and when they're finished, it's going to be a very strong set of information, a very strong set of evidence on how this disease onsets and how it impacts their lives. And that's what they're about. And there you see the panel design it's funded by the National Science Foundation. And it's very important that we find those things out. And we would lose the strength of that knowledge if we use some other kind of design. So in research, what we're trying to do is we're trying to do the best job we can. And all of you need to know about this stuff just so you can make judgments. Just so, do you really want to spend the money to do panel? No, we can do a longitudinal, it's fine. Do you really want to spend the money to do longitudinal? Well, we really don't have the time. Let's just do a cross-sectional. That'll be enough. And then we can tell the rector, okay, these are the changes we measured. All right, you see how these things interact? Panel, cohort.
So the cohort and the panel, which one is?
Well, the cohort is it can be a panel or it can be just a longitudinal, because what a cohort does is it follows the same group of people born in the same period of time, the same age, through some process. They're interactive words. Once again, you see, you're looking for an absolute definition and a clear black and white line between every word, and they're not.
No, I just think that whenever we do the research with the panel study and the cohort study, which conclusion will be more convincing? Because I see they are the same.
they are close to the same.
Yeah.
The cohort does not require the same people year after year. The cohort can either be a panel design with the same people, or it can be a cross-sectional sampling the cohort at different periods of time.
Yeah.
A design by itself, okay, so in the ideal world, we have one design may be stronger than another design, okay? But these two people may use two different designs. She's using the stronger one, she's using the weaker one. But because she's better at implementing and running the project, the set of evidence collected with the weaker design is really a better set of evidence than the one collected with a stronger design.
Oh, really?
Okay? That can happen. That's a judgment we make. So you cannot just say because someone's using a good design and someone's using not such a good design, that one is better than the other. You cannot. You have to look at all of the elements of what happened in the research. How strong was the measurement? How good was the measurement? How cooperative were the participants? How good was the sampling? All of those things have to go into your assessment, and it's not always clear. And I could take the same article, I could bring in, I wish I had, maybe I should have done that, would be bring in a simple article and give it to each one of you and make you spend 10 minutes reading it and rating it. And I bet I would get ratings all over the map. Some of you would think it's junk, some of you would think it's really good. That's just the nature of these things. Just the nature. It's like rating your papers that you get in the class. Have you ever, speaking of measurement, have you ever subjected what you do in the class to research? Because if you take the papers, if I took the papers that were given in my class and I sat down and graded them, okay? And then if I came back to those same papers 3 days later and graded them again, the grading distribution might be quite different. Some people that I passed the first time may not pass the second time. Did I have one scotch or two scotches? And then if you take those same papers and you gave them to 3 different people, you think the results are going to be the same?
No.
Not necessarily. So what do? We try to develop ways of trying to make sure that those results are as consistent as possible. That's where we use rubrics. So if you use a rubric, then it will reduce the variance from grader to grader to grader, from grader to grader to grader. But if you don't use a rubric, then that variance will be very large. Use a rubric, the variance becomes smaller. But we don't use rubrics, you see. We never subject these. These are the kinds of things that we look at in doing research.
So such differences show reliability or unreliability.
Again.
So such differences show reliability or unreliability.
Well, it's reliability or unreliability of the rating system. It's not of the instrument itself. That's a different concept. Usually when we talk about reliability, we talk about the instrumentation. But we can also talk about the people who are grading the instrumentation. Okay? So sometimes when we give English exams, if you use certain kinds of questions and certain content, you have high reliability. If you were to use that question on the same person over and over again, you would generally get the same result. If you use that question on the same person over and over again, and each time you use that question you get a different result, then that's highly unreliable. Now if we take one paper and we give it to 4 people, and they all come up with the same answer, the same grade, they're highly reliable. If, on the other hand, we take that one paper and we give it to all 4 people, and they come up with 4 different grades, then this grading sequence doesn't mean the paper, but these graders are unreliable, and we have to do something about it. And see, unreliability comes everywhere. If we start doing a design, participant observation, and I read them all the time. Vietnamese theses, the teacher will say, well, I collected my data by watching my students. And as I watched my students, I could tell that they were talking more to each other. I said, well, how did you measure that? Oh, no, I just kept a note. No, that's wrong. You should find some behavior, something, physical evidence, some physical trace evidence. And we usually, we can do the tape, make the tape, and then have these 4 ladies look at the tape, and they can say, are the students talking more or not? That's one way. Or the teacher could just simply sit there with a piece of paper and check every time pairs talk to each other. And then when they're finished, count, and then go to another class and check and see, oh, the check marks here are more than the check. You see, doing research is just one thing after another where we are trying to improve the reliability and quality of the information that we are collecting so that we can speak to the question that we've asked with some authority, and that I can give you my answer and you will look at it and you will read my data and you will say, oh, Dr. Berg, you did a good job, I agree with you. Or you look at it and you say, Dr. Berg, this is terrible. I don't agree with you. You can't understand. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring about consensus of some sort. You okay? See, I can talk about this. Yeah.
We started a little bit late, so we can take a break a little bit late. Can we take a break at 3 or now?
You can take a break right now,
Okay.
because we're going to end at about 4.
No. Okay,
No, what time are we going to end? About 4?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's take a break now.